Nightly Musers, followers of the pod, faithful few and hopeful many, this is Anchor by Spotify. If you haven't heard about it, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's the very platform that allows me to give you what I give you on the nightly. So let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And it gives you the ability to distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally FREE free. So here's where you come in. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That is ANCHOR.fm to get started. Thank you very much. Peace. Welcome to the Nightly Muse. This is your host, Tanaya Shea, and we're getting back after it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys a story about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute to just say right here and tell you how I ate a grilled cheese sandwich with tomato soup for the first time yesterday, and it was delightful. I might have messed up the lyrics to Fresh Prince, but y'all, fall is my favorite season. And the season of fall in my life lasts for like 2 weeks, and then it gets really cold and I don't really enjoy it. But fall and spring are kind of like, you know, the 2 seconds of spring before it gets hot and the 2 seconds of fall before it gets like unbearably cold are just delightful. But yesterday it was cold, and I went to this place called Optimist Hall. I had a meeting with a friend named Gage. Shout out Gage. And I went to this place called Papi Queso. It's a grilled cheese joint, and I tried a mushroom Gruyere. Wow. So it was expensive and bougie. And then I found out that I had car troubles the next day. So wish I didn't do that. But anyway, mushroom Gruyere, and it was supposed to have bacon on it, but it didn't, but it tasted delightful. And I had that with a tomato soup, and believe it or not, I've never had grilled cheese and tomato soup. Being from Africa, we have this thing called rice and stew, which goes on like the rice or as a side with peanut butter rice or sadza or whatever. I might have said sadza wrong, but anyway, it is what it is. In other languages, inflection can change the word or the pronunciation in terms of like emphasis, inflection, things of that nature. So whether it's sadza or sadza, I'm not sure. You might think that I just said the same word, but apparently I may not have. But anyway, it's a frustrating thing about languages. I've never had grilled cheese and tomato soup as a combo. And y'all, it was the most delightful experience I've ever had. That's obviously hyperbole, but it was up there. The grilled cheese was just decadent and perfect, and then the soup, the soup alone tasted great, and then when you dip the grilled cheese in the soup, game changer, absolute game changer. Yeah. So one, shout out Low Fly, shout out grilled cheese sandwiches with tomato soup. It was like a creamy tomato like bisque type. It was so bisque. That's a nice word. It was so good. So good. Perfect portion too. Like it wasn't a super small cup. It had some depth to it. And it took some time like to finish the sandwich and to finish the soup. Just a great opportunity. An experience, one might say. All right, so we're doing well. We are in the final 10 push of season 1. I'm really excited. It's been a long time coming, and hopeful to have some guests in these last 10 episodes. Not all of them, but as we get this stuff done, I would love to have some friends, family on the pod. Haven't done that as much as I want to. And yeah, we're having a great time. A great team. So EP. It's really not an EP because, hold on. Whooping out the handy dandy phone to research things. All right. Okay. So an LP, it's a long play, is a full length album. Okay. An EP is an extended play, which is half length of an album. These, so LP and album are interchangeable, and I'm doing more of a full length project than an EP, but it's not exactly. I mean, I'm doing 8 songs, okay? And so there is like a few songs more than an EP and a few songs less than a normal LP. So I don't really know what it is. We're just going to call it a project. But anyway, I got to meet with somebody that's going to help with, some of the post-production stuff. I got to have conversations with a buddy of mine who's going to be doing the cover art and another buddy that's going to be doing the cover art for the single. And I'm just like, man, like this is amazing. One, I got to pray for my friend afterwards, which is really cool. That's something I've been growing in terms of my confidence in like being led by the Spirit. And some of it is like, there's certain things in the faith that are kind of always good. Like, you don't necessarily need the Spirit to lead you to pray for somebody because you should always be praying for people. And if you feel like you should pray for that person, then pray for them. But, the line between being led by the Spirit and, my own action, I guess, as I come into the faith, shouldn't I always be led by the Spirit? There are a lot of theological things that we say that I'm like, I don't necessarily know what the fullest extent of this is supposed to be. But anyway, had a lot of cool meetings that got me really excited about this project. And one of the things that I've just been kind of coming to terms with is that this project is probably going to take a lot longer than I want it to. Hopefully the single comes out and it gets people really excited about what I'm doing. But it's going to take some time. And yeah, I'm just kind of learning I feel like a lot of what I've been talking about lately, where I've been personally, is just learning to be okay with like, learning to be okay in the present, like where I am, and not worrying about tomorrow, not worrying about what the next steps are, but just kind of like focusing in on the current. And it's helped because I'm not good at that in other areas, as I explained in other situations, like, my singleness and stuff like that. Like, it's very, when you get comfortable in a space that has been familiar and you don't really want to be there, then you're like always focusing on the next thing. And so I'm learning to be better there. But like with my work and feeling like God's going to call me back to Charlotte one day. And it's like, okay, that can be a statement that I leave in the, that is in the universe. That is something that I feel like will happen at some point, but I don't need to be stressed about how that's going to play out. Because honestly, I don't know. God could not do that and call me somewhere else. But with my perspective and how I've lived and what I've experienced thus far, like Charlotte is somewhere that I'd want to be again one day, right? And okay, I can worry about how that plays out, or I can just be locked in Davidson and make Davidson home because that's where I'm working and where I'm serving right now. And that's okay. And so that has been a really pleasurable experience in terms of just learning to be okay where I am and where God's placed me. And that's been good. It's been really good. So that has been something that I've been learning, and it's been kind of spilling over into other areas of my life in a good way, right? Like, it's good to rest in that truth with other things that excite you, and you want to, I want this project to be done. I want this album to be done. I want to have it out there. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, let it take time, because it's going to take time, and you want it to be good. Not because you're trying to make it perfect, but because you're trying to do it right, and let it take time. There's no rush. This is your first one. Might be your only one. Who knows? And just, put the time into it that it deserves. And so I'm having fun, and and I had a grilled cheese sandwich for the first time with tomato soup. I had a mushroom grilled cheese sandwich with tomato soup. So it was a very interesting combo, but it was so good. So good. And tomorrow night's episode, I will talk about another first that I experienced that was hilarious and that I've been laughing about today. And it's probably not a first, but it was a necessity in the situation that felt like a first, because I usually don't do the thing that I did. And it's going to be fun. But yeah, I just wanted to have an episode to come out and just talking about the things that I'm excited about. And I don't know, to kind of harp on the thing that I kind of brushed over with my car. And I feel like this has just been a new learned experience as I, with like my mentals and spirituality and whatnot, like learning. Somebody asked me how I was doing yesterday, and I was like, not great. And then I paused and I was like, actually, that's not true. My car's not doing great, but I'm actually doing fine. And that was an interesting moment for me, because so often I feel like we allow our circumstances to dictate our like emotions and our feelings. And there's space for that, because that's true. Like, our circumstances can tear you down, can break you down. But there was a moment of like, a joy in our faith, right? The faith that I ascribe to. I cannot remember which word is correct there, but anyway, the faith that I hold on to, let's just say that, this concept of joy, right? A joy that transcends circumstance. I wasn't like out here just, hunky dory. My car, I was driving to Staples, not a sponsor, but where I was getting filing paper from, or filing folders. And I got on an exit that I was not, like, it was the exit before the exit I needed to get on. And then all of a sudden, as I was driving down the road to get to where I was trying to go, my car just freaked out. And the check engine light came on, and then there's this lightning bolt with inverted parentheses that came on, and then the traction one came on. And I was like, well, this is a lot. I'm going to call my mechanic. Called my mechanic, and he was like, this is when I knew things weren't going well. His initial response to what I just said happened was, can your car even move right now? And I was like, oh, hell, this is going to, this is going to be expensive. And so I was, like I said, luckily I was a straight shot from my mechanic. I couldn't drive over 25 miles an hour. I couldn't drive over 25 miles an hour, which is probably annoying for the people behind me. But I put my hazards on and I just kind of coasted there. And yeah, it was expensive. I'm getting my car actually in a little bit. And all that being said, it was stressful. Car problems seem to not happen during times where you can afford them or, budget for them. Being formerly poor, because I'm currently not, because I have a job that pays the bills. But being formerly in that situation, you don't really get like my sister has been getting on me about having an emergency fund, and I'm like, hey, I don't have like excess funds to just be throwing all over the place. Like, I mean, yes, I need to have an emergency fund, but I'm also like not in a financial situation where I can just be like, here's tithe, here's that, here's my emergency fund, here's that, here's that. Now, what I do need to do is just start building it proportionately to how much money that I have, and not thinking that I have to be putting like a ton of money in there, because that's what I keep stuttering. That's what happens. I think the mindset is that we think, there's incremental growth, and then we are trying to do something exponential, and we just need to do it incrementally. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent that I don't need to go on right now. The point of what I was trying to say is I was okay. Like, I was calling people. I may have said some words that I probably should not repeat on this podcast, but I was very frustrated. I called people, finally found somebody, thank you, Matt, I love you, that picked me up, took me to Staples, and then dropped me off at the office. And then my roommate, Will, who is also my coworker, he had some stuff that he needed to take to a place that I actually needed to be at. So I was like, hey, I'll help you, and can you also give me a ride? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so got a ride to the barn where I needed to be, helped him, and then was able to, do the things I needed to do there, got a ride home. And while I was at the barn, that was when somebody asked me, hey, how are you doing? And I was fine. God gave me what I needed. There were people that provided rides. I got the things done that I needed to get done. I had a productive day. I felt good, although I'm like kind of fighting congestion again. Like I was doing well, and to see God's provision, though I was stressed, I'm like, you know what? It's going to be okay. I can, I'll figure it out. And yeah, like it was an annoying inconvenience, but through that inconvenience, I got to see people care for me in a way that I needed. My car is going to be fixed, and it's okay. And in that moment, I was like, yeah, my car isn't okay, but I'm doing well, actually. And I just think that there's something there. I don't necessarily have a super deep word for you, but I do think that there is a joy that transcends circumstance. And the more that you tap into that, the happier you will be. And the more fruit will come from that. Like, talking about my car, and people are like, I wish I was a little more joyful. Like, it's not my fault, I guess, but just thinking about that, like having a joyful disposition in the midst of chaos, in the midst of circumstantial strife, is also something that's attractive to people on the outside. Hey, why are you happy right now? You just told me that your car is in the shop and that you're tired of forking out cash for it. Phoenix, she has just been killing you. Why are you happy? Yeah, because all of the other things that happened that were absolutely godsends, that's why I'm happy. And my circumstance doesn't define me. It's just my circumstance. And so, I don't know. Maybe there's something there. I hope you enjoyed that little tangent that took our 10-minute episode to an 18-minute episode. I love you guys. Shout out Lowfly. We've got 9 more episodes after this. We are on the home stretch. Wow. This is awesome. So I'm the host, Tanaishe. This is the podcast, The Nightly Muse. And I will talk to you soon. Also, sorry, Lowfly, my gosh, he's doing the intro theme for Life in Between. You should go check that out. Season 2 will be dropping soon. And he's just stellar, and I'm so thankful that God put him in my life. And y'all should check out his stuff, Shine, all of it. I mean, there's so much more. He does type beats. He's just so cool. And so like a Kanye type beat, even though Kanye's, you know, problematic right now. He's kind of always problematic. But anyway, shout out Lo-Fly from the bottom of my heart, from all of my heart, from the depths, from the shallows, from the mid-levels. Shout out Lo-Fly. And I love you guys. And I'm super excited for how this finishes out. Peace.